Artificial method of vegetative propagation. It is a simple, fast, and less expensive method of plant propagation. Therefore, it is commonly used in horticulture and agriculture. The technique used has stem cutting, layering, grafting, and tissue culture. First one, stem cutting. Stem cutting is generally used in plants like rose, sugarcane, and bougainvillea. A short off branch of a plant is cut with a node. This cutting, when placed in the soil under suitable conditions, develop roots and leaves. Finally, the complete plant develops. Second one is grafting. This is a common method used in horticulture to develop a new variety of ornamental plants. In this method, a detached part of a one plant is inserted into the stem or root of another plant of same species. The piece of a detached shoots containing several buds is called scion, whereas the lower portion of the plant that is fixed to the soil but its root system is called stalk. The scion and the stalk are then firmly tied together. After a few days, they establish a vascular connection and the tissue join together to form a new plant. This method is used to develop a new variety of mango, guava, lemon, orange, apple, etc. Layering. Layering is done when the other propagation methods are unsuccessful and only few plants are needed. In this method, lower branch of the plant is bent to the ground and covered with a moist soil. After some time, roots sprout out from the branch and produce a new plant. Then these plantlets are separated from the parent plants and are made to grow as a new plant. Jasmine, bougainvillea, etc. can be propagated by this method. At last, that is tissue culture. Tissue culture is a highly sophisticated and advanced method used by a scientist to produce a huge variety of desirable plant varieties. Tissue culture involves the following steps. First, the part of the desirable plant termed explant is taken. The explant is kept on that optimal culture medium to facilitate cell growth. This allows the part of the grow into a big cluster of cells that we call as callus. Each cell from callus is separated and these cells called plantlets and give rise to individual plants. Sexual reproduction. The formation of new plants through the fusion of male and female gametes is called sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction is carried out only in flowering plants because flowers are the reproductive organs of the plant. The flower consists of a female reproductive part called pistil or carpel and male reproductive part called stamen. Some flowers contain both male stamen and female pistil reproductive organs and are called bisexual flowers. For example, apple, sweet pea, rose, and brinjal. Some contain either only the stamen or only the pistil and are called as unisexual flowers. The male reproductive organ consists of a stamen and a stamen consists of anther which produce pollen and a filament. The anther carries several pollen grains that produce male gametes. Pistil, the female reproductive part, is composed of ovary, style, and stigma. Ovary contains ovules which produce female gametes or eggs. In sexual reproduction, after pollination, a male and female gametes fuse to form a zygote. This process of fusion of male and female gamete is called fertilization. In flowers, the process of reproduction starts with the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma by air, water, insect, etc. Examples of unisexual flowers are cucumber, pumpkin, and papaya, and those of a bisexual flower are hibiscus, rose, lily, and sunflower. Pollination. The transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma is called pollination. Pollination takes place through wind, water, and insects. Pollination is of two types, self pollination and cross pollination. In self pollination, when the pollen grains are transferred within the same flower or between the flower of the same plant. Second one is that cross pollination. When the pollen grains are transferred between the flowers of different plants of the same species or a very closely related species, then it is called as cross pollination. It is also called as allogamy. Agents of pollination. Pollen grains transfer from one flower to another by pollinating agents. The main pollinating agents are insects, wind, water, etc. First, we discuss about that wind. The seeds have to be small, light, and have structure like wings, hair like filaments, etc. to be blown away by wind. Some fruits and seeds show parachute mechanism, etc. All these adaptations help the seeds to be carried away by the wind. The features of the flowers are small, not brightly colored, and do not produce nectar. Features of pollen grains are very light and produce a large number. For example, pollination in wheat, rice, and maize. Second one is water. The seeds may also get carried away by water. Seeds of water plants such as water lily, lotus, etc. may even develop a spongy outer coat that keeps the seed afloat. Pollen grains are released into the water are carried out by that water current to other flowers. For example, aquatic plants such as seagrass and vallisneria. At last, insects. Insects do pollination in flowers which produce nectar. Flowers may be highly colored or strong smelling to attract insects. When an insect gets the nectar pollen from that an anther sticks to that its body. When the insect carrying pollen visit another flower of the same kind, some of the pollen gets transferred into stigma of the flower. Thus the second flower gets pollinated. What are the features of that flower? It has sweet smell, brightly colored petals for diurnal insects, for example rose and sunflower, and white and light green petals for nocturnal insects, example jasmine and cacti, rich in nectar, and the features of the pollen grains are sticky pollen grains. Fertilization. Fertilization is the process in which male gametes fuse with that female gamete. After pollination, pollen grains germinate on the stigma and pollen tubes develop. Then the pollen tubes grow downward into the style and the male gametes present in the pollen tubes also moves into ovule and fuses with the female gametes inside that ovule. This complete process is called fertilization and the fusion of this product of two cells that is gamete is called zygote and the zygote soon develop into an embryo. Formation of fruits and seeds. After fertilization, the ovule present in ovary grows to become a seed, and the seed contain embryo, baby plants, and the food for developing new plants. There is a tough protective coating around the seed which is called seed coat. A seed is the significant part of the plant which can be used to grow more plants. Actually, all the ovules present in the ovary of a flower get fertilized by pollen grains and grow to become seeds. Thus, the ovary of a flower may give rise to a number of seeds. With the time, the ovary of the flower develop and become a fruit. This fruit is the ripened ovary of a flower. The other part of the flower dry up and fall off. Only the ovary is left behind. So at the place on the plant where we had a flower originally, we now have a fruit. A fruit protects the seeds, apple, orange, mangoes, etc. are that some fruits and they all have the seeds inside them. Some fruits are soft, fleshy, sweet and juicy like apples, mangoes and oranges. But some fruits are hard and woody structure that for example, almonds and walnuts. Here are some examples that the fruit is the seed bearing parts or the ripened ovaries of that flowering plant. The seeds that ripen ovules which contain an embryo and is covered by a protective coat. Next, germination. The process by which seeds grow into a plant is called germination. After the dispersal of seeds, when the favorable conditions like proper moisture, sunlight, temperature, oxygen, water, and nutrients from the soil are available, the seed germinates. The tiny roots grow downward and a shoot grows upward. This produces a seedling of the plant. The seedling grows further and ultimately form a new plant. As the time passes, it grows into a mature plant and starts making its own food by photosynthesis. Wheat, grains, gram, maize, peas, beans are some seeds. All these seeds can germinate when sown in soil under suitable conditions to produce a new plant. Seed dispersal. Formation of seed is not good enough to ensure that the plant would give rise to its offspring. If the seeds fall off near the parent plant, it will be deprived of sunlight or other resources. This is the reason fruits carry seeds away from the parent plant. The process by which the fruits and the seeds are transferred away from the parent plant by different agents is known as dispersal. Since the plants are unable to move from one place to another, they need agents to carry the fruits instead. Accordingly, the fruits get modified so they could be carried by different agents. Some of the fruits are described as the seeds dispersal by wind. To be carried by wind, that the seeds have to be light and dry. In cotton and dandelion, seeds have their hair-like projections that help them fly like pollen. In maple, the seeds has wings that help them to flutter and travel a long distance in air. Next is dispersal by wind. Many aquatic plants and some plants living on land disperse their seeds through water. Coconut seeds are lightweight and waterproof and they can float in a long distance in water. In water lilies, fruits float in a water for a while and drop down to the bottom, grow roots at the bottom of the pond. The seeds of the palm trees and mangroves also disperse by water. Then dispersal by animals. Animals and birds can eat fruits and the seeds that are not digested are excreted in their dropping some places away. Some animals like squirrel bury seeds containing fruits for later use could germinate into plants. In cockleburrs, there are hooks or sticky structures that stick to an animal coat and are then transported to another place. Women also play a big role in dispersing seeds when they carry fruits to neat space and throw away the inedible parts that contain the seeds.